Like, you can go there, be gay, sing and dance just to your gay heart's content.
Right.
You know, and
express yourself.
Right, yeah.
I just remembered a thing that I left off in the Nero episode, just real quick. He, not only did he have the 2 wives, he also later cut 2 boys' dicks off because they looked like his ex-wife and married them. So just I forgot. Forgot to say that somehow.
I just remember that I had Googled that and came across that.
But I don't know, man. Like that's
a hell of a thing to forget to have left out. I guess some bitch is wild.
I know
that's like a footnote that gets skipped over.
I forgot more about his wild shit. Yeah,
like, oh shit. By the way,
but
he cut these 3 boys' dicks off. So we like his ex-old ladies and then married them. Right then, here we are, Airstream Studios. Welcome back, Airheads. I'm Trae Crowder. That is
ProCho
himself, Mr. Corey Ryan Forrester. This is Puttin On Airs. There's no G. There's no G on it, goddammit. It's Puttin On Airs. But I felt like
with
doing
an apostrophe.
It just felt like,
Puttin
on airs. Puttin On Airs.
That's Courtney.
But that's a bit different than right. I was doing a different voice a minute ago. I can't even remember which one it was exactly, but it's not the fucking same thing.
What's that accent?
I thought it was
Courtney.
Yeah,
Michael Caine.
Yeah,
Michael Caine.
We've
done this a lot.
Yeah. The thing about Michael Caine is, if I were to, I feel like I used to be able to do a Michael Caine, and now I can't.
I feel like
I don't know what.
Well, Michael Caine.
Yeah.
I feel like, is Michael Caine like their Christopher Walken?
I think maybe. Yeah. I do. There's actually a very famous
John Wayne. So, I don't know.
There's a very not very.
I mean,
famous.
Everybody over there has an impression of him, just like every comedian here.
I think that he is, because there's a relatively famous scene from a comedy over there.
The Trip.
So you've seen it?
I've seen it with you.
Steve Coogan and I can't remember the guy's name, but it's 2 hidden British comedians, and it's a scene, and it's all about them debating the proper way to do a Michael Caine impression. So it makes it seem like he is kind of their Christopher Walken.
It's funny because I know you clearly don't remember this, but the reason that I've even seen that clip is because me and you were just doing that.
Yeah.
And you go, yeah, this is like the trip. And I go, what are you talking about? I'd never seen it, but we did it in real life. And then I watched the clip and I was like, oh yeah, we were just doing that.
What about Christopher Walken? Do you got one?
I don't. It's maybe here.
Yeah.
Over there in the camera.
Oh, not here. Back in Kansas. Back home in Kansas.
I think
your mother's soul.
Everyone knows the moves.
Right.
It's just mine's not good. It's the cadence and the here, and you go over there. But like it's not. That's not good. But everyone can try to do it.
Right.
And almost do it.
You really
hit you in the face with a soldering iron.
Yeah. You really hated Balls of Fury. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
The movie super didn't hit for you, right?
And you know what, man? So
I'm only just because Christopher Walken's in that, and he plays a Chinese man.
Yeah,
he plays like a Chinese. He plays like a Chinese gangster, and they've set up this gangster, Lord Ming or whatever his name was. He's this Chinese gangster, and he walks out, and it's Christopher Walken, and so you're sitting there thinking like, is he about to try to do like a Mickey Rooney when Mickey like breakfast? Is he about to do that?
Yeah.
And then he walks out, and he stops for a second, and there's this pregnant pause, and he goes, okie dokie artichokey. And then he's just Christopher Walken the whole time. But anyway, me and Thompson watched that movie super high.
Yeah.
And I laughed. It's so dumb. It's so dumb, but I laughed my ass off watching that.
Allow me for a second to defend Balls of Fury. It comes out in 2007, so I don't know what movie what me and my dad used to do. Whenever me and my dad used to go see a movie, we would always go see a movie and then sneak into another movie. Like that was our thing that we did. The hitness one we did was we saw Taken and Gran Torino in the same day, and then wanted to go home and just tear somebody's head off.
Sure.
So that day we had done that.
Yeah, I bet your dad especially was fired up.
Oh, dude.
That's 2 movies about like old white guys just whooping ass.
Dude.
I was going to say
real hard. He saw like a Korean kid or something on the way out.
Yeah.
And he was like,
well, we're in Chickamauga, so
no.
Yeah, the one there was like, hey, he runs the restaurant. He's good. But the only day better than that for me and Dad in the movies was one time we went to Hooters all you can eat wings and then went to see the new Rocky when the first new Rocky came out.
Yeah.
Like it was just called Rocky Balboa.
Right, yeah.
And that was a great day. But my point is, we had done that this day, and Balls of Fury was the second movie. And I'm pretty sure what had happened was we had seen whatever in 2007 was the hitting comedy or whatever. We'd just seen that, and we're like, well, let's go see this.
Tropic Thunder? Wasn't that 2007? Something round
It might have been Tropic Thunder.
Oh, well, I mean, Tropic Thunder. I could see how if you watch Tropic Thunder and then Balls of Fury, you would be like this.
But I just did. It just wasn't it for me. But I don't know. Like I like dumber. I genuinely kind of like dumber stuff now than I did at that time in my life. In 2007, I had just graduated. I was doing stand up. And in my mind, I was better than that movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I was into Bill Hicks. You know what I'm saying? So like,
you was a Bill Hicks guy as a
I wasn't not
comedian?
on stage. Like I never got, but I loved him when I was a kid, and then I immediately grew out of it. Like because I saw everybody was trying to do him on stage.
Dude, I know. Even like fucking years after he's dead. Years later, in Knoxville, Tennessee, starting stand-up, there were so many. I feel like ever since he existed, from then and now to this day, there have been Bill Hicks clones at every open mic you ever go to.
Subject matter, I always did. Like, I was kind of like, I want to talk about the things that he's talking about, but I want to be goofy and me about it. I don't. The thing that I never, and seeing him do it because he was a fucking pro, it's like one thing, but then when you see his clones, then you realize it breaks it down to what it really is, and it's like, you're just insulting. You're better than everybody in this room right now. And I was like, I don't ever want to do that. And it kind of made him not hit for me for a while.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I got nothing but love and respect for Bill Hicks himself, but I know exactly what you mean. We're getting too inside baseball with it, but those guys, it's also a security blanket for them, because it's like, they say something and the crowd don't laugh. And the crowd doesn't laugh, they genuinely believe, they're like, oh, they don't understand.
They're too stupid.
That was too like intelligent. That's too incisive for this plebeian crowd. And that's the problem here. And I'm always sitting in the back like, no, dude, I'm smart. I got it. It just didn't hit.
Yeah, I just did a joke about
that just wasn't funny.
Yeah,
that's
why no one laughed
at
protesting it murdered.
Yeah,
you can do it.
Yeah. So, all right, because I'm on the other end of the spectrum, from Bill Hicks, I want to talk to you about Broadway hits. You like musicals and shit is your shit, right? Because Broadway, that shit's fancy.
So,
right? Like fancy people love Broadway.
They do. So I went to musicals as a kid. They would put them on at like the Colonnade and stuff. And
what's the Colonnade?
In Ringgold, Georgia, it's like a little theater.
Well, that's where you go for musical theater.
Yeah, right.
Ringgold, Georgia, baby. North Georgia's finest. Yeah. North Georgia's premier regional musical theater, the Colonnade, down there in Ringgold.
All that's fair. Dolly Parton got married there, goddammit.
Oh, okay.
Not at the Colonnade, but she got married. She got married
not there,
but she got married in Ringgold.
Yeah, okay.
For a while, Ringgold was called the marriage capital of the world. Dolly got married there, and then everybody wanted to go get married there.
We used to go to a place called the Cumberland Playhouse, and it's the same thing. What I'm saying, it's the Upper Cumberland. I think it was in like Crossville, which Crossville does not hit.
Yeah,
and sorry, Crossville, if anybody's watching, Salina don't hit either. But but they
also performed in musicals.
Really?
Yeah, as a kid.
Like church musicals?
Church musicals, yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, like
because we did high school plays and stuff, but no, we didn't have the ball. Nobody had the balls to attempt a musical in Salina High School. It was always never a musical, but plays. I did all those.
I played the Pharaoh as a kid, and
telling them Jews to get the fuck out of here
for sure,
or build your pyramids or whatever.
And so
you got told to let people go, and you're like, no, don't hit for me.
The whole musical was parodies of regular songs but made Christian, and so I'm up there.
Wait, is this like an established thing, or did like your guys' preacher? Did y'all like?
No, we didn't write it.
Okay.
It was
this was a thing that other churches
you could
did.
Just buy. Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay.
So
all right.
I'm up there dressed like fucking Tutankhamun, and I'm doing the Steve Martin shit while the crowd of Jews, played by my buddies, were singing a parody of Louie Louie called Pharaoh Pharaoh. And it was Pharaoh Pharaoh. Oh, baby, let my people go.
Let my people go.
Pharaoh
Pharaoh. That's pretty tight.
And I can't remember, but I had solos and stuff. Like, I can't really remember none of them. But
how old were you?
At that time, I was probably 7 or 8 or something like that.
That's wild.
And then we would, I was in the choir, and then we would sometimes take that to the stage. Like I remember one of the songs.
Did they bronze you up or anything?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No. No. That would have been pretty rough.
Yeah.
That would have been pretty rough. But I remember one time we did a Toy Story parody type Christian thing where I played Woody. And I had some musical numbers and stuff like that. And I've always enjoyed that. I've always have you ever known me to not have a musical bit in my act?
No.
Always. Even if it's just one line from something, I always sing something. I'm always Mel Brooks is my 100% hero. And I remember hearing Mel Brooks one time when I was young in comedy, and he was talking about how he didn't consider himself a comedian. He considered himself a song and dance man that was really funny. And I was like, I like that. I like that. And then there was always like, if you've got a skill and you're performing, you should show that skill. Never hide that skill. If you've got a thing you can do, always put it out there. And so I was just like, well, I can sing a little bit. And so I even had in my act that I think is on the special. It is on the special. I do a mock Broadway number about depression. So yes, I like Broadway musicals. I'm a big fan.
By the way, that's something that we haven't even scratched the surface with the POA with the Airheads. But I mean, you have a legitimately awesome voice. And you're also really awesome at improving ridiculous shit. Yeah. So stay tuned.
We should eventually do a Puttin On Airs musical. Like Dan Levitt, an audio. The Levitard show did one, and it was actually #1 on iTunes, and it was pretty sweet. It was all about sports and stuff. But me and you could do that. We were working on good Food Kid Fat City.
Yeah, well, we were high and had an idea, and it hit for me, and then you actually did something with it,
yeah.
but I never did.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying we've got the capabilities of doing a musical. We should do that.
Yeah, ain't you got you want to do the Book of Mormon, but for Southern Baptists?
Yes, so bad.
I mean, yeah, that would hit real hard.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Book of Mormon?
No, still haven't.
So obviously,
because I want to see it in person. I know you can see it on. I know that you can see it recorded.
Yeah, no, I saw it in person, but I saw the traveling version.
I know, but I really want it. I want to fucking go to New York and see it, so I've held off on seeing it because I'm like, I don't want to fucking see the recorded version when I could. So I'm probably about to, though, because I know it hits. Those two guys are heroes of mine.
So yeah, I've seen Hamilton, The Lion King, and Book of Mormon, and they all hit in very different ways.
And I still haven't seen Hamilton, but you showed me a clip last night because we were talking about King George, and it smashed for me.
It's one of those things I know it would smash for you, but it's and I've if watching Hamilton, I watched it first on Disney Plus. I've since seen it at the Pantages in Los Angeles, but
the traveling shit.
Yeah. But I first watched it on Disney Plus when it came out on there, and it was one of those things where it was so insanely hyped for so long that I was like, oh, this can't live up to it for me. Yeah. But then, because I thought that, then there were multiple points where I was watching it where I had the thought to myself, I was like, man, this is really good.
Yeah.
And then the other part of my brain would be like, yeah, no shit, it's dumbass.
Hamilton.
It's a cultural phenomenon. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Where I've been sitting there thinking, you know what? This is pretty good. This is good stuff.
I had
Hamilton.
I had the same thought with The Wire.
Yeah, right.
When I watched it, I watched it the first time during the pandemic, and nothing could be more hyped up than The Wire. I mean, it's the Hamilton of cop dramas,
For sure.
And as I'm watching it, I found myself wanting to text you man, and I was like, yes, of course. Mm-hmm. It's considered the greatest show of all time. But yeah, the clip you showed me banged, and I do love musicals. I've considered myself a very sing-songy person. I make no bones about it. One of my ultimate goals is to work in Disney animation and do the songs and help out with that. And I want to write a musical. I'm not doing it right now, so I should probably start that part of the goal.
Hell, you got other stuff going on. What do you think it is with the gays in the musicals record? The gays are my people, by the way. They know it. They know I'm with them. They hit for me. But boy, they love musicals, don't they? Is it just the sheer flamboyance and just the theatricality of it? They're a theatrical people, the gays.
I think it's a cultural thing in the sense of I remember there was this episode of Seinfeld, my God, again, where Jerry is, they're going to see Mel Torme. And they're like, you want to go see Mel Torme? And Jerry's like, I can't watch a man sing a song. And singing is, for some reason, not it's unless it's Dean Martin and Frank,
singing
is for a long time. I think it's like singing is a thing a woman does. Like a man doesn't sing, but if he does, he wears a suit and he has a stiff drink. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But didn't they used to like? And I don't know. I'm asked you. You might know. You might not. Didn't they used to like? Wasn't it similar to like the theater where they? Like, were women allowed to sing always?
No,
I would have figured that back because I've heard them stories about like boys castrados. They get their nuts cut off so they didn't lose their pretty angelic singing voice. Past was so fucked up. The past was
that could be a gay thing.
What?
You cut my nuts off, like I don't know.
Now you gay?
I'm not. I don't know.
That might could be a gay thing.
I don't know.
So that's your hypothesis for why musical theater hits for the gays?
No,
is because of
castrados. You cut my nuts off. Hold on, let me get there. You cut my nuts off, and you cut a bunch of these other dudes around me's nuts off, and we're all hanging out together because there's not women being allowed to be here. You might be gay. You know what I mean? I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying it might attract a certain.
I don't know that anybody was like attracted. People weren't signing up to get their nuts cut off. I don't think that was the type of thing where it's like they just used to do shit like that.
Yeah,
to people.
but okay, there you go. But though, like, so the theater attracted people who wanted to hang around a bunch of guys. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just trying to get there to why it is why the gay people have such.
I just think if you just think about what musical theater is,
and
it's like a chicken and egg thing, I guess, but it just seems pretty gay.
Well, you know, being smart is gay.
Yeah, so gay.
Well,
reading books is gay.
The other day we were hanging out with our gay friend Bo,
and they dance. They sang and dance. They sang all their feelings.
Yeah, we were hanging out with our gay friend Bo in Portland, and somebody said something about the drive-by truckers, and we go, Bo, do you know the drive-by truckers? And he goes, do they open up for Barbra Streisand? Because if not, no.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I don't know. It's like it's just one of those things that is.
It is.
It just is, but I've never thought about why. You know, because like clearly I'm straight as fuck, and I love singing and shit. But like when you see it, I do think when you watch Hamilton, you're not gonna be surprised if every cast member is gay.
And I think that, like you said, you were trying to get there. I think,
very poorly.
I think for a very long time, you know, you couldn't just be gay. Most places.
Of course not.
And it was hard. And I think that was like in that community. Do you know what I mean? If you got in the musical theater world, you were going to be around other gay people. And it was like a safe place to be gay was within that insulated sub-society. So like it became a whole thing, I feel like. Like you can go there and be gay, sing and dance just to your gay heart's content.
Right.
You know, and
express yourself.
Right, yeah.
I just remembered a thing that I left off in the Nero episode just real quick. He, not only did he have the two wives, he also later cut two boys' dicks off because they looked like his ex-wife and married them. So I forgot. Forgot to say that somehow.
I just remembered that I had Googled that. And came across that.
But I don't know, man. Like
that's a hell of a thing to forget to have left out. I guess you know some bitch is wild.
I know.
That's like a footnote that gets skipped over.
I forgot more about his wild shit. Yeah.
Like, oh shit! By the way,
he
cut these two boys' dicks off because they look like his ex-old ladies and then married them.
We keep saying well, of course the gays like it. It's super flamboyant and yada yada yada. But like. What's the chicken or egg on that? Like
I know. I mean, I said that. I said it's a chicken and egg.
Oh, you
situation.
did? I didn't hear you. Sorry.
I did.
But like, I don't know. Like you just, it's just something that just is, and you're just like, yeah, man, gay people love to sing it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
got to sing it out, buddy.
And I think that if a straight dude sings on Broadway, a lot of people just assume he's gay.
Yeah, and he's also just crushing.
So. Therefore,
Hugh Jackman is a big musical theater guy.
One of the most talented
it ever was. He's like he's fucking Wolverine. He's this jacked, super badass motherfucker. He's supposed to also be one of the raddest dudes on earth as far as being a sweetheart and everything.
Yeah, I don't know if that would have always played.
But he's a big musical theater guy.
Yeah, I think
he loves to sing and dance and all that shit.
I think if John Wayne, fine. I know, but I think back in the day, if John Wayne also wanted to sing and dance, like he
would never.
No, he would never. But I'm saying if that was in him, he would have been advised, like, don't do that.
Dude, John Wayne,
he was a piece of shit.
He would only do it if you'd let him dress like a Chinese guy.
Yeah, for sure.
So John Wayne, it's so. I'm only laughing because of how. It's so comically on the nose and horrible and I know you know the story, but for the audience, many of y'all probably know it too. Marlon Brando won an Oscar one year, but he didn't show up in protest, and he sent a Native American woman on stage at the Oscars to accept his award for him. And she gets up there and she says, Marlon Brando's not here. He's staying at home in protest of Hollywood's treatment of indigenous peoples or whatever. He's trying to send a political message. But while this Indian woman was on stage being super Indian, John Wayne was being physically restrained backstage because, John Wayne saw an Indian.
Right.
He's like, I got to whoop its ass.
Yeah, right.
That's what I do.
That's my training.
That's my, it's like, I'm a cowboy. That's an Indian.
Yeah.
It's just because he's a racist asshole. But I'm saying it's funny. Like, it's just...
Do they show John Wayne in this?
No, I don't think that you can ever see. I mean, I'm saying that's like if this was like a scene in the movie, it's like a cutaway joke.
Yeah, right.
Like if you cut away,
it's a Family Guy.
It's a Family Guy. Yeah. Like you cut away to the most famous cowboy actor in the world back there, like let me at her, and they're fucking holding him back.
Yeah.
Like it's just so dumb. It's so stupid, but it's real. It really happened.
Going back to musicals, the first CD that I remember my mom owning, because as a kid it was tapes, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it was tapes. And the first car that we ever had that had a CD player in it, the first CD my mom owned and wore it the fuck out was the Les Miserables soundtrack. So it's always just kind of been in our family. And it's crazy because usually music sticks with you. Like you can remember lyrics from a song but I can't remember any. I'm sure that if I haven't seen Les Miserables with it.
Dreamed a dream of days gone by.
That's it. Yeah. I guarantee you, if I watched that musical, I would find myself singing all of them. You know what I mean? But musicals were big. Like I loved Grease. Oh my God, I love Grease. Talk about a wild fucking movie, man. Have you rewatched that shit in a while?
No, I haven't seen Grease since I was in high school, probably.
Bro, I mean, the biggest number in that, my favorite song from it was Tell Me More, Tell Me More. Did she put up a fight?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it.
The whole movie is just like, look, man, sometimes women don't want to fuck.
Did you have to black her right?
Yeah, yes, dude. It's fucking that, like the whole fucking time. Then one of them's like talking about how much of a loser this girl is for being a beauty school dropout and shit. Yeah. Like it's hard to watch. It's still great. Like the music is still.
They trashed the pregnant chick.
Oh yeah, Rizzo. Yeah, like, but it's like everybody. I've heard a bunch of people be like, oh yeah, they're trying to cancel Grease now. I'm like, no, they're just pointing out a thing that is. I mean, dude, listen. If you hear that and you don't think that that's what they mean, you've lost your goddamn mind. But we love Grease. The Sound of Music was the worst fucking thing I ever saw. I hated that shit.
I've never seen The Sound of Music.
But it was crammed down my fucking throat. My grandmother, the one that don't hit, she liked that movie, and I'd be at her house, and like I just the hills are alive with the sound of music.
It's Nazis, ain't it?
It's Nazi. Now I bet you if I watched it now, it would hit for me harder because of the Nazi stuff. But as a kid, I was just like, they were just soldiers.
Yeah,
I didn't know none of that shit. Like I'm talking. I'm four. I'm 4 and 5
way to have put that.
Yeah, it hit for me because
now that I understand that they're Nazis, it would hit for me.
Well, I'm just saying. Now,
get them.
Get them. My point is, now that I understand that it's not just a woman being a bitch in a field. You know what I mean? Like I just thought it was this annoying lady being annoying.
Like, shut up.
Oh God! I didn't realize that they were running from the.
What are they gonna do? Murder you?
Yeah. Now that I know the story, I bet you I could appreciate it more. But as a kid, it was just a woman singing in a field, and it didn't hit for me, and it was shown all the goddamn time. Yeah, I would like. We could do a rewatch. We could do a rewatch of that.
That's some pretty sweet drone work there for when was this?
Yeah, the cinematography on that's pretty fucking great. You're right because that's I don't know, early '60s or something.
Dude,
something like that.
How the hell did they do that?
Time ago.
This is funny, but
I don't know.
So I was back when I gave a fuck about TikTok and shit, or I was trying to give a fuck about it. The Sound of Music clip was like it was a sound that people were using in things, and I was like, okay. And I was in the park, and so I took my shirt off. I was real fat. So I took my shirt off and did like me spinning around in a field while that was going on. And I thought it was funny. And I posted that I clipped that out and I posted it on Twitter and I said, my mood right now. And by the way, I didn't know what was going on in the world at all. I just posted that shit.
Okay.
And
I'm
apparently,
here too, so.
30 minutes before I posted this, there had been a insane mass shooting, and that's all anyone on Twitter was talking about. Like, and then I just post my mood right now. The hills are, and because I'm getting all these comments that are like too soon, not the right time. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then every other tweet was just like bodies being stacked to the fucking. It's the only thing trending, and here's my fat ass just going. This is my mood right now.
Dude, to be scrolling through Twitter at that time and see all this horrible carnage and everybody's fucking, tearing up and fucking upset and everything. And then in the middle of all that, you fucking frolicking shirtless in a field. My mood right now.
Because everybody on Twitter assumes that you know everything that's going on Twitter.
If it was TikTok, somebody would have duetted that.
I know, but there was people that were like, they could. I was like, I took it down. I was like, guys, I didn't fucking know. But there were people like, they thought that I saw a mass shooting and was like, this hits for me. I'm going to dance in a field.
That's so ridiculous.
So anyway, some music don't hit for me.
All right. Okay. Well, shit. Yeah, musicals hit. We should write a musical one day.
I agree.
Hit. Okay.
Shoo-wee, it is July, it is hot, and it is time to bring some of that summer heat into the bedroom. How about you? But the temperatures ain't going to be the only thing rising this summer. Talking about your wiener, and I'm talking about this episode being sponsored by Blue Chew. Guys, confidence can take you far in life. It can also help in the bedroom, especially when it comes time to step up to the plate. And by plate, I mean wiener or butthole or whatever it is that you do. That's where Blue Chew comes in. Tell them about it, Trae.
Yeah, to me, the plate can be the bat is the wiener. You step up to the plate with your wiener bat. What we're saying here. Yeah. Anyway, listen, y'all. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night. So you can plan ahead to get down, or you can just get down whenever an opportunity arises. It's completely up to you. The process is simple. You sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And that's the best part, y'all. It's all done down there on the internet there. You ain't got to go to the doctor's office. You ain't got to have an awkward conversation. You ain't got to wait in line at the pharmacy where the valedictorian can see you getting your wiener pills. You ain't got to do none of that. Also, if you're patriotic like we are, you should know that Blue Chew's tablets are made right here in the U.S. of A. and are prepared and shipped directly to your door in a very discreet package. And we do mean package. Cho, tell them about it.
That's right, USA, USA. Have your wiener at full staff with Blue Chew. I know I'm doing it. My wife loves it. It's her favorite time when the mailman comes. He's got the little white envelope. She knows that it's time for Daddy to blow that back out again. And, of course, I'm talking about my back. Getting older. Hey-oh, boom. But, sincerely, love it. It ain't that there's anything wrong with my wiener. It's just that my wiener's a lot better when I got Blue Chew, and why wouldn't you want a better wiener? You know what I'm saying? So my wife loves my new wiener. Get you a brand new wiener with Blue Chew. Tell them how to do it, Trae.
Hey, we all want a new wiener, I think. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, Blue Chew can help. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. You can try Blue Chew for free. That's right, free. That's right, free new wiener, y'all. When you use our promo code POA at checkout, you just pay $5 shipping, and that's all. That's bluechew.com. Promo code POA to receive your first month free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. Get you a new one.
Born to love again. I got a brand new wiener. This episode is brought to you by Car Shield, who makes it easy and affordable to protect my car from expensive repairs. And that's just for starters. Car Shield is the #1 auto protection company in the U.S. and offers protection plans for around $100 a month. The plans cover more parts than ever before, whether your car has 5,000 miles or, like mine, 150,000 miles.
Let us tell you just how simple it is to get your car fixed. When you need a repair, you choose the mechanic. We all got our guy, right? Well, you can use your guy. You choose the mechanic, and Car Shield's administrators handle the rest. That's it. You don't have to deal with the paperwork or headaches. You're completely taken care of. Same goes if your car breaks down. You're stuck on the side of the road. Plans through Car Shield also include coast-to-coast roadside assistance.
That's right, baby. Car Shield administrators are there for you with rental car options and trip reimbursement at, get this, no extra cost. Get coverage today, and you will lock your price in now, and it will never go up. That means as long as you own your car, no matter how old it is, you're protected from the rising cost of parts and repairs for your vehicle. Trae, tell them what they need to do.
Car Shield helps protect our wallets from expensive car repairs, and they will do the same for you. Go to carshield.com/podcast to start your plan and lock in your pricing forever. That's carshield.com/podcast. A deductible may apply. And just in case you're wondering, it is podcast. carshield.com/podcast. We thank them for sponsoring this one.
Psst. Who's going to take care of your family if something happens to you? What would they do without your income? If you don't have a plan, you need to go to GoliathLife.com. Get a quick quote for more than 20 carriers. You don't even have to leave the house. If you need a medical exam, they'll send somebody to your house or office. You're in total control. You pick the rates, you pick the payments, you pick the terms. You're in total control, but it gives you and your family peace of mind. What if something happens to your income? Hurry to GoliathLife.com.
So, hell, let's do the show. So my segment, normally...
Oh, my God, look how fat I am right
normally
there.
I tee these up, and I forgot to.
It's not on there. You will not be able to find this video, Russ.
But that's okay. My segment tonight, which I'm about to start, Venn diagram, overlaps, rich people, redneck people. This time I've got fishing. And because, there's a lot of different types of fishing, some of which hits for rich people. But before I elaborate... ProCho, History Professor Cho, what are we talking about?
We are going to be talking about the marriage of Charles and Diana. Just the marriage, their relationship.
The wedding or the...
We're talking about, no, just their marriage. Their marriage. Them two together, okay, their wedding, but also, their tribulations and their subsequent fallout.
That'll hit. Okay, so... Fishing, obviously, rednecks love fishing. Everybody knows that. Also, like, fishing is very much, most... I'd say, I don't know, but like a huge chunk of poor people the world over be fishing.
Yeah,
because you
to
got
survive.
Subsistence fishing, like fishing's an ancient pursuit. People have done it for forever. But yes, rich people like it too, because of course they do. They find ways to make it hit way harder.
That exclude us from being able to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the only way something can hit. They're not standing in a fucking some kind of weird like catamaran with a fucking net.
Yeah, and swatting flies away from their fucking face.
Yeah, fucking skeeters and whatnot. Yeah. In Cambodia somewhere. That ain't it.
No, that ain't it.
They're off the coast of North Carolina chasing them big sword nose fish. Marlins, blue marlins, deep sea fishing.
You
all
ever
that
eaten
shit.
a swordfish?
I don't. Yes, I've eaten swordfish fillet. Blue marlins are not caught or meant to be eaten.
Okay,
they're purely a sport fish.
Right. That's mean.
Well, they normally
throw them back.
Almost always.
That's weird too.
Well, I wanted to talk about that, so let's go ahead and talk about it. It's wild. They'll like. So because the blue marlin is like close to being endangered naturally, they're always supposed to throw them back. Unless it's like a tournament winning fish.
Right.
Because I guess then it's got to like prove it. Yeah, it's a trophy or whatever. But otherwise, you get rid of them. And the way they get rid of them is they pull them up. Or if you catch one and you're going to let it go, apparently you got to pull it up. You've got it defeated. You've won the battle. You bring it up beside the boat.
Take a picture.
And get a picture. And apparently they drag it alongside the boat for a little bit because it like rushes the water over their gills and lets them. They about half dead. Right. They're about half dead right now.
Right.
So
they need to breathe in the water.
Will allow them to keep breathing while also like they get to fucking chill out for a minute because and then finally they let them go and they go back and like I know Mitch Hedberg had bits about
Vietnam.
it and stuff, but think about the perception of that fucking fish, dude. What kind of
John
nightmare.
McCain fucking nightmare?
Yeah, like it's fucking wild. You're just you're like, oh, that'll hit to eat, and you're like, fuck,
yeah.
Just fucking jumping up out of there, freaking the fuck out.
I guarantee you that they starve themselves for a week after that because they can't. Everything they see, they just start seeing the flashbacks. They're like, I can't fucking eat that.
And then the aliens. These alien beings from a world you cannot comprehend appear and pull you into this other dimension and fucking are gawking and like hugging you and shit, and smiling,
rubbing you on a boat.
Yeah, right. And then they just put you back, and you got to go back and tell your buddies about it.
And they don't believe you.
Never.
Yeah.
Jeff Foxworthy got a bit about that.
He did.
Your fish buddies would never believe
it was about God.
Like that.
He was like, and I started being called towards the light.
Yeah.
It was, and what does God look like? he was drinking a Budweiser and had on a Marlboro hat or something like that.
Yeah. Here's a question. What are the aliens using for bait in Chickamauga, Georgia?
To get me? Can of skull or something like that. But I don't know that he goes into the bit about how funny it would be, and maybe he does, of like that when those fish go back to tell all these people that nobody believes them, and they're like fish who are considered conspiracy theorists.
Right, they think
because
they're crazy.
This has happened
they're
to
like,
them.
Oh, here he goes about the
It's
fucking
redneck.
hairless aliens again.
It's right.
They live in the above place.
Right.
Where they fucking, it's like, dude, don't get him started.
Yeah.
Don't get him started.
And he's just tormented his whole fucking life.
Yeah, he's the fucking Randy Quaid
Yes.
from Independence
I've been
Day.
saying it.
Yeah,
I've
right.
been saying it.
Yeah, and one day he's going to shove his fucking sword nose up some dude's butthole.
That would hit real hard.
Yeah. Fucking got you back.
Dale Jones used to have a bit, hilarious comedian, go buy all his shit about how weird it is. He's like, have you ever thought about how weird it is that you catch a fish and you throw it back? He's like, can you imagine shooting a deer and giving it CPR? Yeah. And he starts doing this whole thing, don't you die on me.
Right.
And it's super great. But it is weird. It's like, if you're not going to, like, I'm all for eat this motherfucker. But just hurting it and then throwing it back is weird.
I think, like, in these situations, a lot of times the idea is I'm trying to catch a real hitting fish.
Right.
And if I do, I'm going to keep that motherfucker.
Right.
But if I catch a fish that don't hit,
I'll let him
I'm not
live.
going to just kill it just because.
I'll just give him PTSD for the rest of
throw
his
him
life.
back so he can be ostracized by his fish community for being a fucking hobo lunatic. Yeah, or whatever. But you know what I mean? And so, like, anyway, this shit, this marlin fishing, this deep sea fishing stuff is very much for rich people.
God
You're
damn.
like entry level like guided tours.
1,100 pounds.
Are like $2,000 at least. They get way more expensive. Some of them are $25,000.
Dude, you know
they
good
have
and well.
these big tournaments. I had this
Look at
one
that
pulled
shit.
up. There's a.
You know me and you'd get sick within the first 5 minutes and just puke the whole ride.
I'm pretty good on a boat because I grew up on the lake all the time. I don't normally get seasick.
But deep sea is a different thing.
I mean, you're right. Yeah, I've been on.
Because I don't get sick on a pontoon unless I drink too many beers.
I've been on cruise ships and it's still not the same as that.
I hated them.
I mean, they're fucking trash barges, dude. They are.
That's a good subject. Cruises.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's wild. Look at that motherfucker.
Dude, imagine that
what's
motherfucker.
What's going through his head right now, dude?
Don't hit. Look at that guy fucking getting it, boy.
So
I would love it if that
spotter.
fish breached and literally stabbed one of them in the chest with that.
Yeah. So talking about the money that's in it, there's the Big Rock tournament. Yeah,
they fought for 2.5 hours.
Oh yeah, dude.
Look, he's got a spotter.
You
he's
got to
giving
be
him
in
water.
shape to do that shit, son.
No, I'm saying they go to fucking war.
Yeah.
That's the reason that
Holy shit.
That is the reason that blue marlin are like the trophy fish.
Because it's hard as fuck.
Because they're big and impressive looking, but also they go hard.
Right.
Everybody like, damn, marlin go hard.
Holy yeah.
So that's why it hits for people. There's the Big Rock tournament off the coast of North Carolina, which pays in 2020 paid out over $3.3 million in prize money.
Holy shit.
Yeah, right. And so
just to catch a fish.
Guess who got 5th place in that tournament off the coast of North Carolina for catching a 442.3 pound marlin? Yeah, guess.
Jimmy John.
Michael Jordan.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
5th place.
I bet he was so pissed off that he got 5th place.
Furious.
Like, even though that's not his world at all.
That fish popped up and was under 450 pounds, and he was like, and so I took that personally.
Yeah.
He called a bigger fish than me, and I took that personally.
Yeah, don't hit.
His fish hit, I'll fucking kill that
That really
motherfucker.
did probably piss him
I
off.
guarantee you it pissed
What
him
a
off.
lunatic.
So, anyway, it's a big deal, big industry, a lot of money in it, and poor people aren't allowed to do it. That's not the only one. Apparently, I didn't really realize this because I don't know shit about it, but fly fishing is kind of a rich person's thing, too.
Yeah, that makes sense. My dad likes it.
Yeah, okay. It's like really niche and specialized, and the equipment is more expensive, I guess. I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
But apparently...
Dad likes it because he says, he don't do it anymore, but it's a dance. It's like riding a Bronco.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not just casting it out there. Like, there's a whole method to it. Like, you're literally like, it's like having a whip, and you're like whipping.
My buddy Chris Key, he started to get into it. I don't know if he still is, but the last time we went out on the lake,
it looks fun.
He brought his fly fishing shit, and dude, I mean,
It's complicated.
I fish all the time, but
Yeah.
that whole fucking
it's
thing
crazy. It's crazy.
is way, way more complicated.
Right, because
you
it's-
can't just pick it up and do it. Like there's a trick to it.
It's
you know?
complicated enough when you and your buddy are drunk, just trying not to cross the fucking lines. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Well, so apparently all these rich white guys, some of them spend $200,000 to $750,000 just on fly fishing, creating and stocking their own personal streams that have computer controlled conditions.
That ain't
And
even fun.
It's cheating, right? I know. Doing this in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, which is like fucking the rich white capital of the Western
Right.
U.S. You know, so it's like,
But look, that does look peaceful.
yeah, dude,
Like you're out there,
fishing
you're-
fucking hits. So
Yeah.
yeah, rich people fuck with it. The Japanese fuck with it at
Fly
a,
fishing?
At a high, no, just fish and a high dollar level. Most expensive fish ever bought was a bluefin tuna bought by a Japanese feller for how much money you think it cost? It was like a 900-pound bluefin tuna.
And he's going to sell the meat?
Yeah.
God, I don't even have a good $250,000.
He bought one for $1.7 million.
My God,
He
way
bought
off.
another one another year for $3.2 million.
How many tuna steaks you get out of that
dude,
motherfucker?
He called himself the Tuna King. And I'm like,
Nice.
show me the lie, dog.
That'd be 100%.
You dropping millions on bluefins.
Do you know how
You're
many,
the
like,
Tuna King?
If he buys that for $1.5 million, what's his profit?
Got to be crazy. It's got to be. And
It's like, how many tuna steaks are you getting out of that?
right.
A lot.
It's got to be like fucking. It's got to end up at a 3 Michelin star
Right.
place
Has
where it's
to.
like
Look at
the
this-
pricing's through
Look at the
roof.
size of it.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
Still, like,
So-
how are you getting $2 million worth out of that fish? That is insane.
You know how many cans of Bumblebee you can make with that
well,
thing?
that's true too.
So
But those are $2.
now that ain't Bumblebee shit,
Yeah.
dude. That's high end
Yeah.
Tokyo sushi fucking 3-star shit.
Which is the
But,
shit, by the way. I love that.
So, all right, switching into the redneck side of it. Of course, rednecks fucking love fishing. Some anecdotes. I am from a lake town, Salina, Tennessee, Del Hollow Lake. Matter of fact, home of the world record smallmouth bass. Just
Show
so
me the
everybody
lie.
knows. That's actually, I don't think true anymore. We got beat at one point, but I still say that. We were the home of the world record smallmouth bass for a very long time, except it was always disputed because that's how fishermen are.
Right.
People always used to say, like, he weighted that down.
Right.
He put a bunch of nuts and bolts in the
Right.
fish's guts before they weighed it, and it was a
Right.
dubious record the whole time. And, of course, other people in Salina were like, fuck you, it was.
Yeah.
Biggest goddamn fish you ever seen, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Biggest smallmouth, Anyway, so fishing's huge there. My buddy's dad was an avid fisherman, and this is how crazy they get and stuff. And he would just do like local tournaments and shit. My buddy Kobe, his daddy, he used to pay me to go to the bait shop for him with a very specific list of things he wanted, and he paid me to do it because he couldn't have anybody else knowing what he was using, the combination what he was using, and that meant he couldn't send his son either because they
Right.
knew Kobe was his son.
Did they eventually find you
So
out?
they just not that I'm aware of. So he
Yeah.
would pay me to do it because nobody would think. He was like, but yeah, I'm sure somebody was like, "Who's sending the town queer in here about? He ain't fishing. He don't be too busy reading."
How much is he paying you? That $20?
Yeah,
right.
something like that. Yeah, $20 a trip. But anyway, so yeah, fishermen be wild. And speaking of fishermen being wild and rednecks loving fish, I found this thing called the Redneck Fishing Tournament. All right, it's in Illinois.
Well, that ain't fair.
And,
Of course,
dude,
they've got redneck.
buddy,
No, I know.
bro. We're gonna pull
Two
up
of the
a
most redneck
we're-
dudes I know are from Illinois.
We're gonna pull up a video here in a minute, and we're not gonna have any audio, but just watch some of it and tell me it ain't red
No,
as fuck. Once
I know.
again, show me the lie.
Again, my
So
buddy
the
Colton.
setup for this is this river or lake or whatever that they're doing this in every year has been invaded by an invasive carp species that's really harmful to the local ecosystem.
One of them just got in.
So every year, yeah, I guess, and then now they everywhere, and so every year they bring all these rednecks in there, and they're like, "Have at it, boys!
like the pigs with
Kill
the machine
all
guns.
them motherfuckers!" Yeah, like
Yeah.
the pigs with machine guns. So look at these motherfuckers.
Okay.
Look at this here, the redneck fishing
And
tournament.
of course, they're coming from all over.
Yeah, but here's the thing about this: throwing fish back prohibited.
Really?
Against the well, they got to get them all out of there.
Right.
That's the
Oh,
whole
yeah,
deal,
right,
you know what I
right,
mean?
right.
And then guess what else is prohibited in the redneck fishing tournament?
Black
Teeth?
people.
Fish, fishing poles,
Really? So they're all noodling?
nets.
Nets. Okay.
So the way it works is, and you'll see it here in a minute. These fish,
Yeah,
these
boy.
old boys and a couple old gals,
I love that this is on Natural Geographic because it paints it in the light that these are like apes out there doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at the redneck in the natural habitat.
Yeah, exactly.
He loves it.
Yeah.
He's drinking Crown Royal.
I swear to God,
the same bottle after
that dude right there, he's saying something to the effect of, I ain't got no love for these fish, I'll tell you that. He's like, every one of them must die. Wouldn't bother me a bit. We gotta get them there. Just like, and then later, and so these fish are harmful to the local ecosystem. But the way these rednecks talk about them in this clip is like that lady right there. They say all this shit like they make them
like
sound
they're terrorists.
Like yes, they're like these fish. They'll jump out of the water. They'll hit a little one in the head. It could kill them. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
and they've got the kids right there with the nets.
With the nets, yeah. And they're like, they're dangerous. It's like there's some dude down there who's just like, 94, lost my papaw to a fucking one of these Chinese carp. One of these goddamn Chinese carp jumped up, fucking hit him in the head. Boom, that was it. And I've dedicated every day of my life since to eradicating every last one of these sons
By the way,
bitches.
that guy was not wearing a T-shirt, but it looked like it. Did you see his farmer's tan?
Yeah.
That was like that's not a T-shirt.
Right. So the way this works,
look at that motherfucker.
The way, and just to remind everybody,
that was a sweet Earnhardt hat.
This is not in the South.
Right.
This is in the Midwest. Fucking trash everywhere. Rednecks
Same
everywhere.
thing.
So,
is that her? Is she the official starter?
That lady founded it. And she's since been put in the Conservation Hall of Fame or something like that.
I heard that is like she's the one who discovered the lake. Like she founded it.
No, this whole thing was her idea.
Wow.
And she's like been given awards for it and stuff by conservation groups. So, but look how it works. They get in these boats, they haul ass down the river, and that agitates these Asian carp. They literally called Asian carp. That's the species of fish.
So it's
when I said Chinese carp, I was just hitting. But
do they know that it's from there, or they just like they don't hit, therefore they're Asian carp?
No, that's the species of fish.
I know, but they named it.
No, they didn't name it.
I'm just saying. You know how they call it the China flu or whatever? I didn't know if it was one of them things.
Yeah, they got Jew bass down there too.
They get to heading down the
playing
water.
Like fish lacrosse.
They get to heading down the water. It agitates these carp. They start jumping, flipping out and jumping.
Oh, wow.
And you catch them.
That's just so fucking bad. That would be fun, dude.
I would love to do that.
Look at that. Hell yeah, baby. Look at that son of a bitch right there.
This is kind of great.
Dude, it would be rad as hell.
So you don't throw it back.
No,
so
that's against the rules.
You gotta snap its neck.
No, they trash. They trash fish. They trash fish.
They don't.
It says at the end they get
that's the worst.
Ground up for something. Why is that the worst?
Oh, like cat food or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's fun.
No, dude, they're fucking up everything else in the local ecosystem.
Dude, nice. That's a good haul.
They
right
are
there.
like they're like
that's so awesome.
They're like pests. So it's just like getting rid of a bunch of rats,
like foxes.
Yeah. Sure, foxes. Foxes don't hit.
No, remember, they're like vermin, like
wild squirrels. What?
No,
foxes
over there.
Like fox hunting.
Fox hunting. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Right. But all I'm saying is, fuck these fish. I don't give a shit what they do with them. They don't feel love.
Right.
Throw them in a bucket. Throw the bucket in a fucking wood chipper. I don't give a shit.
What about fish?
No,
we brought up fish.
Even Corey says fuck fish.
They're unfeeling. They're just for food.
So. Okay, that's it for
anything that I eat, I will pretend doesn't feel.
I said this, and you bullshit. It was in clearing the airs.
Oh boy, here we go.
When we went into clearing the airs
now cows love, but
for the squirrel episode, I brought this whole thing up. I was like, here's my thing, man. I just think if you're going to fucking eat animals, don't try to bullshit me like you think they can fucking feel love or whatever. And you said on the thing, you're like, no, I never said I wasn't a monster. Like, you're like, I think it's both. They do feel love and I eat them because they hit. What I
said just now was, if it's an animal I'm going to eat, I pretend.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, ProCho coming up next on the subject of, I forgot again.
Look at Corey's already upset. He's starting to go back into the squirrel.
Charles and Diana's betrothal and subsequent relationship and falling out.
Right after this.
You know I got to pee.
I do know that. Listen, guys, CBD isn't about what you feel. It's about what you don't feel. Things like stress, anxiety, pain, sleeplessness, and feels is a better way to feel better. Feels is a premium CBD that will help to keep your head clear and for you to feel your best. It's hassle-free and delivered directly to your door. All you do, you place a few drops of Feels under your tongue and you feel the difference within minutes. The thing to remember about CBD is that finding your right dose is important and everyone's dose is a little bit different. Not to worry though, Feels offers a free CBD hotline to help guide your personal experience so that you can find your own perfect dose. The Feels customer service team is dedicated to making sure you get the best use out of your CBD. Joining the Feels monthly membership makes your self-care easy. You'll save money on every order and you can pause or cancel anytime. But I say to you, you place a few drops of Feels under your tongue, you feel the difference in minutes. What does that mean? Well, CBD naturally helps to reduce stress, anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness with no hangover or addiction. And you don't have to take it from me. Cho, you're a devotee of CBD. Is that right?
Dude, I just can't really remember my life without it at this point, but I do remember it not hitting as hard. Yeah, I've been using CBD, as you know, like I'm one of the most anxiety-riddled human beings of all time. I've had trouble sleeping and whatnot, and with several other wellment techniques and stuff, but heavily including CBD, it's not my life anymore. I use it every morning, sometimes several times a day, just depending. Like every now and then, like right before the podcast, I'm like, okay, cool, drop, drop, drop. I love it. It really helps me. I'll be honest with you, like a lot of rednecks on everything, I was kind of skeptical, but I love it. I would not go another day without it because I don't have to, especially with things like Feels. So tell them, Trae, all their stuff they need to know.
Yeah. Now you don't have to either. It's time to start feeling better with Feels. Become a member today by going to feels.com/POA and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. Free shipping, y'all. That's FEALS.com/POA to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with completely free shipping. Feels.com/POA. We thank them for sponsoring this here program.
Start feeling better right now. Right now? Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Are you feeling stuck making minimum payments on your credit card debt? SaveWithConrad.com can help, and you don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket to do this. NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Oh, and did I mention no house payments for 2 months? Get rid of your credit card debt and lower your monthly payments right now at SaveWithConrad.com.
Okay, let's do it, ProCho. Another vigorous history lesson from Professor Cho.
Is that how I do them, vigorously?
I'd say you get pretty vigorous with it, vivaciously. You vivaciously learn us shit. It's fucking Charles and Diana's marriage. Okay, it didn't hit. There was a lot of shit went down. Camilla was there. She hit for him, and
didn't hit for them.
Didn't hit for them, and then Diana was beloved, and then died in a wall.
Your summations are wonderful.
In a wall.
You always pretty much know exactly the same things that I know. Even after researching, I'm like, yeah, that's it. I
mean, Princess Diana. Everybody been known by her,
right? Well, yeah, so here's how they get started. I want to do several episodes on Princess Diana, and so I just want to segment her life because it could be a whole episode with just the crash and her and Dodi Fayed and all that stuff. So I just wanted, and Charles too. So I just want to talk about their...
Oh, also, and that their wedding was like the single biggest television event of all time when it happened and remained so for a long time.
Yes, and I'll save that and let you know how many people it was. But like
it's crazy, right?
Whatever you think,
it's more.
It's more.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. So they meet in 1977 in November. Prince Charles meets her for the first time at Althorpe House. I love how all their houses, like each house has like such a wonderful name. Like I just got like, that's my house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they're like, I was at Althorpe House.
I thought your
your
house got a name.
My parents
got a name.
My parents' house has a name.
Yeah, most people's parents' house ain't got a name either.
No, they
so
don't.
it's funny for you to be like, isn't this weird?
Yeah.
You're like, wait a minute, I thought
It's funny because
your
I didn't
house had a name. Like, no, yeah, my parents' house, it got a name.
It's funny because I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that, but like it was because it's Tom.
You grew up in a house with a name.
Well, it's just the Tom Lee house because Tom Lee lived there.
Sure,
You know,
old man Althorpe didn't live in the Althorpe house.
When Tom Lee lived there, it was just Tom
Slaves.
Lee's
It was
indentured
slaves.
servants. Yes, but I'm just saying it was just Tom Lee's house, and then when Tom Lee died, they were like, "That's the Tom Lee house." Like they didn't call it nothing then. I don't think.
But you don't
And
think you don't think old man Althorpe lived in that house?
I guess you're right, but we don't call it the Tom Lee house.
Well,
like,
no.
That's just my mama's house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they meet there, but he was actually dating Diana's older sister.
Trey, did your house have a name? The one that
Yeah,
you got
Fannie
left
Mae
from your
owns
dad?
this shit.
Yeah, no, it
This
did not.
Fannie Mae house.
Yeah. It was a housing and urban development, or was it the fucking the whatever
HUD?
the people to get HUD?
HUD, yeah, it's the HUD house.
HUD
Trap house.
the HUD house.
So I actually didn't know this, even though I watched their shit all the time. I didn't know that he was dating her older sister. Like at the time, like he was there, he was dating her older sister, and he met them on a shooting weekend, which is their
like
shit.
skeet or
yeah, they
foxes.
were out shooting foxes or whatever the fuck. Then a year later, Charles and Sarah, who is Diana's older sister, they go on a ski weekend, and they were captured there by a photographer, and it was like a scandalous thing. Like there was the paparazzi wasn't as big then as they are now, but this photographer catches them skiing, which like they were dating, so I don't understand what the catching is about. But while they were there, this photographer finds Sarah, and he has like a journalist with him or whatever. They're trying to do a story. And so they talk to her, and she doesn't like realize that she's on the record. She just thinks she's talking to a person. And she says, and I quote, they asked him about marrying Charles, and she said, "I wouldn't marry Charles if he were the dust man or the king of England." And so that got out. Like that was a fucking story. And so Charles was like, well, all right, well, we're done. You know what I'm saying?
The dust man was like, what the fuck?
What the fuck is that? What did I do?
What's a dust man?
It's so funny to think about somebody cutting
like the
to a
bug
guy
man?
with a dustpan. It's like,
Yeah,
well,
right, yeah.
Is that like the bug man?
Fucking just chimney shit all over his face. Soot, they call it. Chimney shit.
So he's done with her, obviously, but like the Spencers were still like one of like the it families, so he still stayed in touch with these people. Like he's still like their parents are still having high tea with everybody. So he's still talking to them. And then they're one day hanging out at a mutual friend's house, Philip de Pass, I assume at the Philip de Pass Manor. Mm-hmm. And Charles is super upset about the passing of his great uncle, Lord Mountbatten, which you may remember how he passed.
Exploded in a boat.
He got exploded on a boat because the IRA was like, he don't hit.
Right.
Which, that's one of those situations where I'm like, two things can be true. I bet he didn't hit, and also they shouldn't have done that.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know enough about it, but generally I'm opposed to exploding people
on a
boats.
boat. Yeah, right. But they exploded him on a boat, and like this was Charles's dude. Like he loved this fucking guy, and he's super upset about it. So like he's crying, and he sees Diana, and she like comforts him. Like this younger sister, this girl he used to date, because she was like way younger. Actually, for some reason, don't have it written down, but he's like 13 years older than her, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Russ, look up the age difference between Charles and Diana. So this happens in 1980 when they really first meet for the first time. And then in 1981, he has already proposed to her. He proposed to her. She says yes. At that time, it said that they had only gone out like a handful of times. And she's 19 years old. And at this point, she is getting like the most press that anyone has ever gotten in the entire world. Like she's instantly become one of the most famous people on the planet, and kind of much like Meghan Markle, I guess, even though you like going into it, like, I mean, this is the future king. Like this is going to be something else. You still can't quite prepare yourself for that. So she starts having like panic attacks and shit like that. She's really going through it mental health wise. They formally announced their engagement to the world on February 24th when a report, and this is one of my favorite quotes ever. they asked Charles if they are in love, and you remember what he said?
No.
He goes, whatever in love means. And he didn't say it as a joke.
Right.
Like, he said it so matter-of-factly, and everyone is seeing that just like, oh my God, they really are like that. Like, they don't fucking, like, they have no idea. These are just complete robotic motherfuckers.
Right.
March 1981, Charles flies to Australia and New Zealand for 5 weeks, but Diana doesn't go with him, and she's seen at the airport just boo-hooing. And later they ask her about it, and another thing that didn't hit about her for all these people is how open she was with the press.
Right.
Like, she would just straight up fucking be like, yeah, like, she didn't, like, Elizabeth's whole thing was always, they don't see you cry.
Right.
You don't show any emotion
feel
or nothing.
Anything. Yeah, right.
Because you're supposed to be stoic, and they need to be able to assume anything about you. Can't show your shit. But she was just like, she's a 19-year-old girl. She don't give a fuck about that. And the reason that she was upset is because she had come home and his phone was ringing, and she answered it, and it was Camilla Parker Bowles. And this is not just any woman calling. This is a woman who Charles had been in love with forever. Like, this was his girl, but she was not correct for him to marry. Like, it just wasn't going to be. Much like Edward and Wallace Parker
Simpson.
Mm-hmm. I just put two not-hidden names together. Yeah. But unlike Edward, he was like, well, I'm going to go along with it. Like, I'm in, you know what I mean? But he still loved her. And in his mind, it's like, well, like, okay, I can marry the right one, but I can still step out.
Pork the other one,
or step out.
You can do that.
Yeah, you can. And he did.
Mm-hmm.
They get married, even though Diana has, of course, serious doubts about this, because not only does she get the phone call right before they get married, she finds this, like, $1 million tennis bracelet that he has had made with Camilla's, like, fucking initials on it. And to make things, and I don't know, in my research, I don't know if this actually happened, but in the movie with Kristen Stewart, which I highly recommend, it's all brakes, no gas. I'm not gonna lie, it's a slow fucking burn movie. Yeah. But she
stare out a window a lot in that movie.
That's a window staringest bitch you've ever seen.
A lot of women staring out a lot of windows.
Yeah. What was it Mark said, that if there's a show that some lady stares out a window, he won't watch it?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But in the movie, she finds this bracelet and looks on her wrist, and she has the same bracelet, and that made it, like, even worse. You know what I mean? Like, she'd been like, oh, I've got this great bracelet, and, like, he just made it for all his hoes.
Yeah, right.
I can't find in my research.
That's just
economic. You're already there. Make two of them.
Yeah,
just make two.
Might as well just line these up for all my hoes.
So,
I'm at the bracelet man.
I can't find that actually happened, but regardless, that's why she's super upset and has all of her doubts. So, their wedding, the most televised event in history. How many people watched it?
250 million.
Because that's 50 million people watch Seinfeld or something.
Okay. And I think every Super Bowl every year is like 60 or 70 something million or something like that, I think. So I just jacked it way up from there, because that's also back when ratings were higher for everything. So, yeah. I mean, I just pulled it out of my ass, though.
Yeah. It's 10.5 Super Bowl. It's 750 million people.
That's crazy.
Watch this shit. Now, granted, we're in a time where there was only so many channels, and it was probably on all of them.
Wasn't the series finale for MASH right up there with it on the list?
Yeah, it's like number 2, but it's way down.
So crazy.
Yeah, MASH was fucking
a TV show.
Yeah.
That's wild. But yeah, that's almost like, at that time, that was almost like 20% of every human being on planet Earth. And think about how many human beings that didn't have TVs, or, you know, so if you take the percentage of people that had the ability to watch a TV at all.
Yeah. Most of them.
It had to be, it's
most of them. In the 80s, that's most people that owned a television watched that shit. And again, like, it was probably the only thing on.
Yeah, for sure. But still.
But I don't give a fuck. Like, that's crazy. 750 million eyes, almost 1 billion motherfuckers watched these two get married. They have their first child pretty quickly after that. Prince William, who is, I guess, the future king.
He is.
Future king.
Reportedly, yeah.
After this, she coupled with her anxiety from all of the reporters and all of the fanfare, she gets postpartum depression, like pretty rough. And she's quoted as saying, you'd wake up in the morning feeling you didn't want to get out of bed. You felt misunderstood and just very, very low on yourself. That's what she told the BBC in 1995 when she did her tell-all, which is proof that postpartum is real. Because if I understand like a woman, like if you live in Tennessee and you got a baby and now you got all this bullshit you got to do, and I can understand you getting stressed out. So people are like, oh, she's just overwhelmed, postpartum depression. But if you're the goddamn future queen of England and you still can't get out of bed, then clearly postpartum and anxiety is such a very real fucking thing. Doesn't keep her from having another baby, though. 84, Harry, the, I guess, prodigal son, or if he ever came back, he'd be the prodigal son, right?
I don't know. That's
the exiled one.
Yeah, all I know about the prodigal son is
comes back.
They return.
Yeah. So if Harry ever went back to the royals, he would be the prodigal. That is the Bible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The son goes off on
nothing else about that motherfucker.
Yeah, this kid goes off on like some sort of Jew Rumspringer or something.
Okay.
I don't know that he was a Jew, but in the Old Testament, they was all Jews. Yeah. And then he comes back to his father and he accepts him.
Lord ain't killed nobody in that time frame.
I'm pretty sure he was killing. I think this was around.
Nobody got smote in that story. Because back then the Lord was.
I think this was around Job, like that same era.
Lord was too busy fucking
Job
butt.
up. Yeah, that was a full-time gig. Fucking Job's butt.
Sure was.
So around this time when Harry's born, Charles and Diana are super not hitting for each other, so they start porking other people. Charles goes back to Camilla, and Diana, this is when she famously has an affair with Captain James Hewitt, which a lot of people speculate is Harry's dad. That's a conspiracy.
I didn't know that.
They showed
this guy.
He was a army dude that was hanging around Buckingham Palace a lot, and she used to snake him in and fuck him. Like, and everybody knew it. Like even Charles knew it.
What's his name?
James Hewitt.
Colonel James Hewitt.
Captain James Hewitt.
Captain James Hewitt.
Basically, like the way that her like handmaidens and stuff described it was like, it was a rotating door, and I'm not disparaging her in any way. Like, he was out fucking Camilla. She's allowed to do whatever she wants, but apparently she was running through them. But Captain James,
so okay, all right.
I mean, I could see it.
I mean, come on, Captain
I could see
James.
it as much as I could see Charles.
Wait, you talking about?
I mean, that's Chloe and OJ situation right there.
Bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't just mean this guy was in and out all the time. She was a revolving door of
a bunch of
gentlemen fuckers.
But this was her main. So like, you've
her
got
main deck.
Like so the king he has his wife and he's got his mistress.
Sure.
But he also bangs but that was her main dude. Like, she actually probably really cared for him. Like, he was a super stoic dude, and really she leaned on him and talked to him. But like, she also was just banging other people too, because like, why wouldn't you? Like, you're allowed. So from the mid 80s on, they just hate each other. They just, almost publicly, like everybody knows it. They're trying to do the fake it for the sake of the family thing, but Diana just stopped going to events and vacations like altogether, and that like their whole thing was just like, it's just fine. Pretend. It's fine that you hate him,
right?
But you have to go.
You got to.
And she's like, "Well, I don't want to." And they're like, "This is the role that you're playing a part, and you've got to do this shit." And she's just like, that don't hit for me. Well, then of course now the press proclaims to the world that they're split up. They weren't like officially split up, but like it just became apparent to them, and then they proclaimed it, and then that sort of made life imitate art in a way. In May of '92, the book Diana, Her True Story came out, and I
swear to God, I remember that.
I
was 6 years old, but I remember that book. It was such a big fucking deal.
It was a huge deal because, I mean,
I can remember the cover of it. I could see the cover of that book in my head right now.
She didn't write it, but she was very involved in it. Like, there was audio tapes used of her to make this, and it's super devastating to the royal family because it completely lays out the collapse of their marriage, his affair. She talks about her mental health struggles, which, like, I'm pretty sure you weren't allowed to have back then.
Definitely not.
Like that,
especially not for them.
No, because
too.
to them, it's like if someone's struggling with mental health, that it's
so gauche.
It shows badly on them. It's like, what? We're not. This life isn't good. You know what I'm saying? In December 1992, Prime Minister John Major, who I don't know that guy. I only know like 3 prime ministers, I think.
Mm-hmm. Churchill, Tony Blair, and Boris Johnson.
There you go.
That motherfucker, he wild.
He's super wild.
Dumb, goofy. Anyway, go ahead.
He announced to the House of Commons that the Prince and Princess of Wales are separating. So now this is official. And in a 1995 interview with the BBC, Diana said that she felt deep, profound sadness about their decision. We'd struggled to keep it going, but obviously we had both run out of steam. I mean, it just was. I mean, to me, they never loved each other. I mean, the first fucking interview, he's like, yeah, whatever love is. So it was a sham from the beginning. And frankly, in my opinion, this is probably how it always was with all of them. But she's one of the first that the camera's in front of their face. They were all faking it. It's just that no one was doing fucking interviews. So like, to me, it's like, this is a glimpse of how royal life has literally always been. Diana is not an outlier. It's just that she's the first one. It's like when people say,
also, it was part of like what they didn't like about her, right? Is that she would just say that.
Yeah.
Like she would open about stuff.
Yeah, she was open.
Like,
and it's like the people in Henry VIII's time might have been open about stuff, but who was writing about it?
Yeah, the fucking town crier down there yelling. It's like, you know, fucking, hear ye, Anne Boleyn's sad today.
Yeah, right.
Anne Boleyn's brain don't hit. Gather round.
So their divorce is finally finalized in August of 1996. She receives, obviously, a substantial financial agreement. Like, she's never going to have to worry about anything in her fucking life, which unfortunately would not go on that much longer because in a future episode, I will talk about her life tragically ended when she hit a wall. Yeah. As you said. Yeah. So that was their sordid marriage. It was a loveless affair. It's sad. For her, it's one of those situations again where I find myself not wanting to be one of those people who sympathizes with the royals because fuck them. But at the end of the day, I'm like, she was 19 years old, dude. She didn't know. Like, she's just a 19-year-old girl. She gets thrusted into all this.
She also did a bunch of other hidden shit, like charity work type stuff.
Was,
AIDS. She was good with AIDS.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that this to be true, but surely to God, Marjorie from from Game of Thrones was probably based on her.
Probably, yeah.
Because you don't hear about a lot of other, princesses that were like, I mean, when she shook the hand of an AIDS patient.
Yeah, right. It's a big deal.
That's one of the biggest.
That's what people thought. Like, you couldn't even be in the same room with them. Room as an AIDS patient.
I mean, that like
catch it.
Like, say whatever you want. It's a publicity thing or whatever. Like, that is a huge moment for the AIDS community. And yeah, so she's a 19-year-old girl who didn't really know what she was getting into, and then Charles reluctantly married her when he wanted to be with somebody else, and butterfly flaps its wings, and she's no longer with us because of all that.
Charles married Camilla.
He's married to Camilla now, yeah.
Right,
yeah, and it's kind of weird to me because like he's the heir apparent, but I don't know if they have one of those Morgan the marriage where she doesn't get his title.
Yeah,
I haven't looked into that, but I bet you she don't. I bet you that it's the same thing where like he's going to be king, but she's not going to be queen. I don't know that to be true, but like the reason that they couldn't be together in the first place was because she didn't hit hard enough to be the queen.
Okay.
So now all of a sudden, it's like if you'd have just done that back then, none of this shit would have happened.
Right.
So why now? Because he was just finally like, look, I'm doing this shit. And they were like, God damn it, we don't want anyone to abdicate, So I don't know, man. But
I don't know either, man.
Fucked up situation.
Getting into royal incest kind of situations.
She's fine.
On, right? Oh.
Okay, yeah. Prince William.
I bet that didn't hit for them.
Almost dated Camilla's niece.
Of course, then he married a commoner.
He got a handy from her.
Yeah.
At the fucking Winthrop Manor.
Do you know anything about Kate Middleton's family?
No.
I don't either, but like the whole thing is like, oh, she's a commoner. Like, she's not of royal lineage. I bet you her daddy has $3 billion.
I bet you're right.
And then their wedding cost $48 mil, so now it'd be between 70 and 110 mil. But there was a lot of
dustmen hungry as fuck round England that year, watching them spend $50 million on fucking flowers and shit.
And isn't it wild that it's going to cost like 58 times as much when the queen dies?
Oh, yeah. We're about to do Clearing the Airs here in just a minute. Who knows what you will be doing in the future? That's Future Us.
Oh, that is Future Us. This is the first time that was. No, it's always been Future Us.
Yeah,
but now we know.
But now we know it's Future Us.
Right.
But past us didn't know it would be Future Us doing this, but present us knows it'll be Future Us doing.
Yeah. So we're about to do something, and I'll probably be wearing a chain link hat. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, I really wish you would. I know you're watching it, but if you would actually subscribe to it, that would be super good. And if you just watched it on YouTube, please go to one of your podcast apps, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review. It takes you 2 seconds, but it really, really, really does help the show. And also, tell your friends, because if you like the show, it stands to reason that people that you hang out with have similar sensibilities and will like that show too. And if you tell one person, then our audience doubles overnight. We love you. Thank you. And here's Clearing the Airs. Skew.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Royalty and rednecks are alike. They both like cutting and picking fights. Biscuits and baked beans where they don't belong. Sit on down with Corey and Trae and learn some fancy shit today. We'll laugh a little even when they're wrong. They'll take you to a magical place where if you call someone a cunt, nobody cares. They keep it debonair at Puttin' On Airs, Puttin' On Airs, Puttin' On Airs, Puttin' On Airs.
That's what we're doing.
Right.
We're starting. How's my accent coming in? A little bit better.
I feel like it's all right.
I don't know if it's
to me.
but I don't know if this is Scottish or Irish. I can't tell.
I do kind of feel like you're going back and forth a little bit. Aye. But
Yeah,
actually,
right. It's more of an Irish. Irish is more of like that.
Yeah,
Irish- Irish
you're
feels like
What I've been doing lately
me-
with Irish is I keep thinking of that guy. I told the story on here. I think that dude I met in London after the show we did, who was
At that
from
bar?
Ireland. Yeah, the guy who said to me, he was like, you know, you're on stage and you do a tremendous job, you know, and but I've been observing you in the hours since then. I've watched you walk, and it's clear you're a very serious and nervous person. And, like, I think of that dude now whenever I think of Irish, whenever I need to, like, get into the different sort of mode.
that is the best way to do accents.
Think of a
not try to
specific
just do
person.
that. Right. And I can't do it off the top of my head right now, but I used to do a decent Australian because I would just do Jim Jeffries.
Oh, yeah.
Like I wasn't just doing blanket Australian.
I think when you do one enough, you know, you can get sort of you can
Sort
sort
of
of
get
just
into it.
slip in and out of it, you know, because you've done it enough.
I'm just
you know.
always worried I'm more of a Kiwi.
Well, now that I don't know, you know, it very possible.
Yeah, right.
I don't really know
All right,
the
well,
difference between the two, if I'm being honest with you. I like, you know, geographically and all that, I know the difference. I mean, that
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know, you know, like phonetically, the way that they speak and all that. I don't know. I know there is a difference. I don't know if I could do a Taika Waititi, you know, impression. That might get us there.
South
But I don't
African
know.
also
Anyway,
has
yeah,
a bit of that.
They do. You're right. South Africa, I agree completely.
You can
It's
kind of
like,
go into all three.
Yeah, which that ain't what you want. Well, here we are on Clearing the Airs.
Oh, right. We're doing a show.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to keep all that, right? We're going to use all that.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I? Yeah, we're here on Clearing the Airs. This week you just heard
Fishin from me.
Fishin from Trae, and for me it was the marriage of Charles and Di, Princess Diana and Prince Charles, soon to be king. Trae, I went back and listened to the episode not that long ago, and I got to tell you, and this is kind of new, I didn't hear anything that I immediately was like, you dumb fuck, that is not true. Now, I'm certain that we're about to get flooded with emails, but like, at least on my end, it feels like oh, wait, that's not true. I wrote down one thing, and I'd like to bring it up right now. I said, me and you, and we're both kind of guilty on this because you agreed with me. We were talking about Kate Middleton, and we were talking about how everybody in England loved her because she was one of them, because she didn't come from royalty. And I said, or you said, I can't remember, yeah, I mean, she says that, but I bet her daddy had $1 billion. And one of us was like, yeah, I mean, no shit. Well, that's not true. Don't get me wrong. Their family is well off now, especially because of her being associated with the royals. But she actually did come from a decent, you know, like kind of middle, upper class, not billions at all. And her mom had this great idea where she started going to a lot of parties, like kids' parties and stuff, and she noticed the things that people always forgot at parties, and they were always having to run out to get. And she started this business that was like packaging of those types of items that she like sold in bulk. Ended up selling that company and made several $1 million off of it. But that was later in Kate's life. So no, she was not the son of a billionaire. So that's what I got wrong.
Okay. I mean, I feel like, you know, the way that was couched in the episode was like, hell, you know, like it
You're
wasn't
right.
us declaring it to be true. It was us being like, they say that, but I bet she hits though. So like, I don't feel that bad about it. I mean, I felt the same way when I listened to this episode, famous last words, but I didn't notice anything either. I'm sure some other people will, but yeah, I don't really have any air to clear this particular week that I can think of. Happy to say.
Fun show.
Yeah, always a fun show. Very soon, in a couple of weeks, we'll be recording another batch. So, gonna have to get some stuff together for that.
Yeah, that's true. I'm actually starting that process tomorrow because I like to do my process for that is pick the topic, download a bunch of like PDFs of information and podcasts, and go take off to the woods for a couple hours and then come back home and outline it. So I'm looking forward to this week. It's going to be super fun. If I need about, I think, 7 or 8 Professor Cho topics. So if you want to email, y'all do this all the time, but if you want to continue to send some suggestions to puttingonairs@gmail.com, I will certainly take them into consideration. And the same goes for Trae's Venn diagram segment. If you got any ideas, we've had several good ones that I can tell you we are going to use. So we really, really, really appreciate that. And we appreciate all the email we get over at puttingonairs@gmail.com. Would you like me to read some of those for you, Trae?
Yeah, first, I wanted to say one that's been brought up on my Patreon. By the way, if you really love me and didn't know and want to love me a little more, FYI, I do have a Patreon page, and I do extra stuff over there if you're into that. You just go to Patreon and look me up. But anyway, I had a patron over there by the name of Brandy Campbell who kept asking me on Patreon if we got her email. And I had you found it and sent it to me, and I just wanted to share just so people know. A few episodes ago now, I had talked about how I almost had to pay my own child support. True story. I'm currently doing a version of it on stage. It's going all right. But Brandy Campbell's, she emailed us at the airmail there and told us that her sister did, in fact, have to pay her own child support. She didn't get out of it the way I did. And I was like, are y'all not white too? You know, like as white, I was as surprised as anybody. And maybe they're not. Sorry, Brandy, if you're not. Anyway, that's giving away my own jokes here because I sort of get into that in the stage version because, you know, that's the only time I've ever felt white in my life was when I got that forgiven, you know.
It still blows my mind, man. Like every time I think about it, I'm like, how though?
It was so easy too. I don't know if it's also these are Brandy and her sister. Like I'm a man. This was a man talking on the phone in Tennessee. That still carries some weight some places. Goddamn.
My God.
But anyway, that's a terrible story. Their dad was a bit of an absentee drunk, and he got the way Brandy described it. It was because he was held legally accountable for something. I don't want to get into all the messy details of it or whatnot, but basically you inherit, you inherit debt and problems from people when you're poor. When you're rich, you inherit fucking boats and trust funds and stuff. But when you're poor, you inherit things that don't. You inherit things that don't hit. And so we got confirmation of somebody who not only had heard of the possibility of having to pay for your own child support, but actually had to go through with it and done it because our government don't hit. So how about that?
Our government does not hit. Hey, since you had a shameless plug there, I figured I'd do that. If you support Trae over at his Patreon, but also if you want some more stuff from me, go to CoreyWritesForYou.com. That is my Substack /newsletter. There is a paid version of it. There's also a free version of that. It's $5 a month, and you can support me, and you get cool stories and audio podcasts and videos and all sorts of things. So check it out if you ain't. But yeah, let's get to this week's.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like mine kind of came up organically, but that's okay. It's all right that you did it anyway. Like,
well, I could argue that if your subscription service comes up organically, then it would be organic for me to plug mine. But I understand what you're saying is I called it shameless, and I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I was saying that, and also in addition to, like, yours obviously far more shameless, because of
for sure
the less organic nature of it.
I wasn't gonna. Well, I mean, I think
mine. I felt like I had, almost had to talk about mine. I didn't have a choice, Corey. Whereas you could have not done that and just chose not to.
Yeah, that's true. I never said that it wasn't shameless on my end, for the record. I think my wording was, if Trae's going to do a shameless promotion, so will I. So I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Yours wasn't shameless, mine was. That's fucking fine. Still go to CoreyWritesForYou.com and subscribe, shamelessly or not. You don't have to be ashamed. But let's get to this week's airmail. Again, send us all your messages at puttingonairs@gmail.com. Corrections, recommendations, all that good stuff. This is from, I know immediately that our show has a far-reaching antenna just because of seeing so many names that I've never seen before that are clearly not from this country. This is from Eero Kivinen. And please send me another message if I got that wrong. Eero Kivinen, the subject line is, "For Christ's sakes, people, just listen to the latest episode." Just listen to the latest episode, the one with Puttin and Wallace Simpson. Great episode, but for fuck's sake, get your wrestling right. Kane was Isaac Yankum, not Ivan Yankum. Scott Steiner was the big bad booty daddy, not Buff Bagwell. And Drew McIntyre did bring a sword out to the ring. I was recently asked if I was from Tennessee and took it as a compliment, by the way, as soon as I thought of Trae. I'm very much from Finland and was just on vacation in Boston. I wonder where I picked up that accent from. Love y'all. Eero K. Pronounced Arrow. Okay, right on. It's pronounced Arrow. They put that in. By the way, I would like to say, and we had another email about this, the very second we stopped recording, I was like, oh shit, that was Scott Steiner, not Buff Bagwell. That's on me. I apologize.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was joking around a little bit ago with the plug talk. I was just trying to bust your balls a little bit. But obviously, these wrestling faux pas here, I mean, that was all you.
Agreed.
Because I knew that he had been a dentist, Kane had, but and I thought it was Yankum, but I would not have professed to have known what those were.
Well,
you're the one that fucked all them up. So
that's true, but I said
to Arrow.
I said Ivan. I said Ivan instead of Isaac. My bad. There's plenty of Ivans in wrestling.
I would argue that Ivan Yankum is a much better name than Isaac Yankum. Anyway, like they fucked that up. Frankly.
The Scott Steiner one was just a slip because earlier that Buff Bagwell has been in the Twitter news a lot lately. Just had him on my brain. That's on me. And the Drew McIntyre thing, that's more new. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh, yeah, right. But Drew McIntyre is such new wrestling that it doesn't, come into my brain. But I do remember, Jim Cornette talking on the podcast about how it's stupid that he brings a sword to the ring because he's like, it's not like he's actually going to cut anybody's head off. So it's just kind of stupid. So, yeah, that one.
Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump.
Big Papa Pump. Yeah, okay. And that's where I think of Big Papa Pump. I think of him doing this. I think of Buff Bagwell. You know what I mean?
They were in the same era, right? They were in the same era. Buff Bagwell and Big Papa Pump were doing it at the same time.
Oh yeah, they very much were, and I believe they were both in TNA at the exact same time. So now we have from Brian McCarthy, subject line: best poop in a film. ... Thoughts. Chaps, just chuckling away through the latest show, loving it, and though I do agree the explosive poop from D&D, Dumb and Dumber, was good, but in my humble opinion, A Million Ways to Die in the West, Neil Patrick Harris's poison poop in a hat in the street takes the biscuit. And when he tried to grab a second hat off a stander by, and I nearly pooped myself. Love the show, keep it up, and I can't believe Corey didn't remember being peeved that he didn't get free drinks because his ball bag gets wet when he sits on the throne for a shit while big titties do. All right. Thank you, Brian. That was from last week's show. I couldn't remember about that email. Apparently, I had gone on some tirade about how women complain about having big titties, but no one ever thinks about the dudes that have big balls because at least women with big titties, there are some advantages to it. Like people will buy you drinks. Nobody gives a fuck about us big bald people, which I stand by.
Big bald people.
God damn it, it's
works
double.
On a couple levels, am I right?
It sure does. This is from H. Mead. The subject line, Fun Hitler fact.
Sweet.
Hey,
That's
Corey.
a tremendous subject line.
It is. Hey, Corey and Trae, I can't believe you didn't mention the most important contribution Wallace Simpson made to the world. After the abdication, they lived in France and entertained many a German. Hitler invited the Duke and Duchess and gave them the royal treatment, including having people curtsy to Wallace or bow, which she was always denied. It's a whole protocol and HRH madness. Meghan and Harry also lost their HRH status. Well, it turns out that Hitler really hit for Wallace and David, his real name. He loved the German part of his family and was stupid and short-sighted. When Hitler invaded England, he would be restored to king and Wallace as queen. So you could say that Wallace Simpson saved Western civilization. Thanks to her, we're not living like we were in The Man in the High Castle. I love the show and the well-read podcast. The only thing I haven't liked was the Anastasia episode. Sorry, Professor Cho, that entire segment made me a little angry. But other than that, it's great. It's great. I have to ask, are y'all's clothes itchy as hell? The gold shirt especially looks uncomfortable. Trae, you should come to Philly to do a show. I guess I shouldn't go to Philly. Thanks for keeping it debonair, Haley Mead. Yes, the clothes are insanely itchy. Not all of them, but...
I said God damn it because I was just, I don't blame you for not coming out if you're in Philly, but I was just sort of halfway between New York and Philly instead of going to either New York or Philly. I guess
right.
My agent thought we'd split the difference, and I was out in Jersey somewhere. So I literally just got back from there. But again, I don't blame you for not. I'll come to Philly proper before too long. Man, you really, really, really must have fucked that Anastasia episode up.
Big time. And I admit it. And I fully admit it.
That did not hit for people.
No,
dude.
it didn't.
I don't know enough
it.
about it to even understand how bad you fucked it up, but like
it really
just butchered that shit.
It makes me happy though, genuinely having this one that everybody keeps pointing out because it's the only one that everybody keeps pointing out. Because I've been like, well, maybe people just wouldn't point it out if I didn't hit. But no, they will point it out if I don't hit. So obviously, I'm sure that some people have had problems with everything that I've done, but not. Like, no one's pointed out anything more than Anastasia. So in my mind, I'm like, well, this maybe is the exception that proves the rule of that normally I'm pretty okay. That's what I believe.
I feel like people, it has also been a common, a common observation to make that some version of like, I love the way you guys like clearly don't really know anything about what you're talking about. Like people say it in a complimentary fashion. They're like I love how you sort of like it's clear you kind of don't really know what you're talking about, but you sort of act like you do or whatever. That's come up a lot. So,
I mean, I think that's the
another
charm
version of it.
I think that's the charm of the show. It's comedy first, for the love of God. All right, so this is from Luann West. Tremendous redneck name. Subject line, how carnies hit. Hi, y'all. Love the podcast. Y'all hit for me. I got to tell my carny story. The county fair was a big deal in our little North Georgia town. Oh, what's up, neighbor? My youngest daughter, Amy, is a wheelchair user, and when she was 4 or 5, she was really excited to go. I was wondering about the accessibility and safety of the rides, and if I'm honest, I was getting my Karen on at the thought of interacting with those, quote, trashy carnies about my concerns. We arrived and headed for the teacups, and my first carny looked at my daughter and asked very bluntly, "Is she crippled?" I was taken aback a bit. This was the late 80s, though, and said, yes, she is. The carny looked at me and said, "Ain't no crippled kid paying to ride my ride." He insisted she ride for free, and no other carny would take our tickets. Boy, did I feel like an asshole. I was humbled that day, and I try my best not to judge people and to appreciate the kindness. Carnies hit. Thanks for the laughs, Luann.
Yeah, that's that thing we've talked about before. And Pat Oswalt used to have a bit about it, too, about how, like, the way people getting caught up on the words people use versus like what's behind the words, the intent.
Let the little queers dance.
It's like exactly, just let the little queer dance. It's from a bit. I need to bring that bit back.
You do.
Too.
That's one of my favorite bits that you do, which is not surprising because it's a direct quote from Dustin Thompson.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but basically, that, and so. Yeah, that's sweet. Carnies with hearts of gold. I gotta say, I feel like their graciousness and generosity should have done nothing to alleviate your safety concerns about putting your dog. You mentioned being
they were
worried
just
about
like, well,
that.
what are we going to do? Break
But
their
as soon
legs
as you
twice?
heard it was free, you were like, shit, she'll be fine. Hell, fuck it. Oh, it's free? Yeah, fuck. Let it ride. I don't care that the technician is a fucking 19-year-old fucking pillhead you just found in Chickamauga, Georgia. That's a callback to Corey being propositioned to be the tilt-a-whirl man, despite admittedly knowing nothing about it. So
that is tremendous. All right, let's keep it moving. We got two more. This is from Emma Claire Shuznik. Trae, how would you? Czosnek. Shuznik.
Czosnek.
Shuznik. Zoznik. Okay.
Zoznik.
Emma Claire
Probably.
Zoznik. Hey, y'all. You guys talked about Instagram people posting pictures of themselves posing with expensive things like private jets and luxury cars and the like, and it made me think of something similar, but also the opposite. I like that, how you worded that. That sounds like us. There were children of rich people flexing on their Instagram with their expensive things that had the IRS looking and sensing tax fraud. The IRS apparently is trying to implement some sort of AI that can aid in these schemes to help them prove fraud if they audit someone. It seems like something that would be right up Smart Mark's lane. I totally agree. I know he's part of a different branch of the Skuniverse, but come on, rich people being audited because of their own spoiled children, priceless. She then sent an article for us and Smart Mark. P.S. Y'all have read 2 of my emails on the show before, and both times have tried to read my
last name. I've gotten it wrong.
Both times, make that 3 times. Both times have tried to read my last name, so here's the scoop. It's Chosnik. The CZ is Czech. The OS is like the Wonderful World of Oz, and the neck is just neck. So Chosnik. Chosnik, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Love the show, and shout out to producer Russ. Okay. Thank you, Emma Claire, as I will call you from now on. This last one we have, saving the best for last. It's a bit of a long one, but I had to read it just because of the subject line. This is from Alyssa Peters. Subject line is Weebs, but in Korea.
This is not going to be the last one, and it's going to hit for you when I explain why. But go ahead and do this one.
Wait.
This is the penultimate one.
Okay. Go ahead. Weebs, but in Korea. From Alyssa Peters. This is long, and I don't expect you to read it on the podcast, but I thought you might find it interesting. I've been a well-read fan since... Oh, my phone just went away. I've been a well-read fan since 2017, and I've never felt the need to respond to something y'all have said, but when you were talking about Japan and weebs the other week, it got me thinking. For background, I'm originally from Pennsatucky. That's the redneckish parts of south-central Pennsylvania. Hell yeah, baby, we know. But for a while now, I've been living and working as a teacher in South Korea. Going from a tiny hick town to living in Seoul was wild as fuck at first, but now it's hilarious to watch people's faces when I tell them my parents' neighbors don't have electricity. They're Amish. Korea has its own version of weebs called Koreaboos. That sounds like I shouldn't say it. In my line of work, you can spot them from a mile away because they're generally 22 and fresh out of college. They won't shut the fuck up about K-pop and Korean dramas. They're all about going out and getting pictures and videos for Instagram. They make YouTube and TikTok videos centered on visiting filming locations around Korea, and they rarely last a full year living here because, surprise, real life isn't like the movies. Who'da thunk it? Meanwhile, I'm 29 and speak fluent Korean, so I have a fair number of Korean friends who like to absolutely shit on these Koreaboos. Korean people love when Western foreigners take interest in their culture, but they would generally prefer that they do it from afar or, at most, on vacation. It is not easy to move here, and it's even harder to stay permanently once you have moved, and that is by design. While I don't want to equate Japan with Korea, there is a long-standing and arguably justifiable dislike of the nation of Japan by Koreans. They are similar in the amount of xenophobia that is inherent in the culture. Anyway, love y'all. I'm skipping 7 paragraphs because it is very, very long, but I did want to read some of it. Anyway, love y'all and loving the new podcast. I studied history, mostly fancy British people in college, and it hits to hear y'all learning about history. Skew. P.S. If you want to know something absolutely fucking wild, Koreans measure age differently from the rest of the world. Wow. Here, when you're born, you're 1, and then everyone ages up on January 1st. People will actually tell you their 13th-month-old baby is 3 years old because they were born in December, and they became 2 when they were a few weeks old. I'm 29 in real life, but most people here tell me I'm 31, and it annoys the shit out of me. Well, that's some math I didn't know they did.
That's objectively wrong. Is
Yeah,
how I would put that.
Of course, that is.
The cultural sensitivities and all that
That's
don't
stupid.
make no goddamn sense. They ought not do that. Typically, what I hear about, I'm also doing a bit right now about Katie finding out how the metric system works. I don't know why I'm talking about all my bits today, but like generally when I hear about how another country does something, oftentimes I'm like, God damn, we don't hit.
Yeah, right.
Like, why, you know what I mean? Like that, why don't we do that? That sounds like it hits, you know, but that ain't it.
No, that ain't it.
I definitely knew about people's obsession with Korea lately. It's like all over the place, especially K-pop and the dramas and all that. So Korea's hot right now.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of white people fully obsessed with Korea. I'm sitting here in my head. I'm like, I feel like if I don't know that I knew that there was that weeb. I know when we talked about weebs, we're talking about Japan specifically, but I probably would have ignorantly called the Korean people weebs too.
I would have
thought
to.
it was just
Koreaboos.
I thought it was just Korea. Well, because weeb is short for weeaboo.
Yeah, right.
So Koreaboo.
Yeah.
You know, it makes sense. But I just would have called any white American who's obsessed with like
No
Asian
weeb.
culture, a weeb. So thank you for clarifying that. But yeah, Korea, shit hot right now. So I said that wasn't going to be the last email. I'll try to make this somewhat quick. I said that because you sent me 3 days ago. You sent me an email and you said, I'm sending you this so I don't dare forget to read it on clearing the airs next week. That's what you said. And as soon as you sent it,
it worked out.
As soon as you said it, I was like, he's 100% going to forget to read that. And then the whole time you've been reading through these, I was waiting on this one to not be included.
Yeah.
And then it was. So anyway, I'll read it.
So I did the
It's
right
from-
thing. I feel like this is a
You
sign of
did, yeah.
maturity.
It worked. It worked
Yeah.
out. It's funny. Anyway, so it's from Nicola, right? Hey, me again. The subject's just hi again, but it is a good email. Hey, me again, one of your many Scottish fans. All right. Hope you're both doing well.
All right.
Just caught up with the show, and I can't thank you enough for the laughs. Genuine tears of laughter watching you both, despite often knowing something of the topics you both cover. You manage to convey the facts in such a funny way. That's very sweet of you, Nicola. Now, aside from just kissing arse, I did have a couple of silly things related to the Lord Pickles and Ed Balls topics. Pickles and Balls does sound like an amazing cop show. Ed Balls once tried to search his own name on Twitter, but instead tweeted his own name. It's now recognised on UK Twitter as Ed Balls Day. That was over 10 years ago. That was over 10 years ago. Ed Balls Day. And she sent a New York Times article that says 10 years ago, Ed Balls tweeted the words Ed Balls. A New York Times article 10 years ago, Ed Balls tweeted the words Ed Balls. That's pretty great. Anyway, back to the email, and I'll switch voices now because some of these are going to need to be British sounding, and we're getting there though. And this is the email again. There's currently a Tory leadership race on, and one of the contenders is called Tim Tugendhat. Tim Tugendhat. Already funny sounding, but his campaign logo and slogan reads as tit. See attached. And she sent a picture where his campaign slogan, I don't know where he's getting the I from, but his campaign slogan just says tit. So that's nice. But those are not the only ridiculous names. Just counting the House of Lords, here are a list of ridiculous names you can find in Parliament. I'm assuming, I'm not fact-checking these, but I'm assuming these are all real. The Baroness Bottomley of Nettlestone, Lord Baker of Dorking, Baroness Bakewell of Hardington Mandeville, Baroness Blower, Baroness Boycott, Baroness Bull, Baroness Chisholm of Alpin, Lord Craig of Radley. Lord Craig seems like he could have, but I bet he don't.
What a coincidence! They're all named Baroness.
Lord Crisp. Assume he's on a committee with Pickles. Lord Pickles, Crisp, and Pickles. Baroness Ducey, Baroness Flather, Baroness Fuchs. That's a good one. Fook and Fuchs. Lord Goodlad, Baroness Goody, Baroness Hamwee, Baroness.
I say that every day.
Yeah. Lord West of, looks like Spithead, but it's got to be like
Spatheed.
Spatheed. Lord West of Spatheed. Lord Wigglesworth and the Baroness Young of Old Scone.
I'm some good ones.
So, yeah. That's some good ones. So, yeah, that is the last email. It's been a pretty long clearing airs, but that's okay.
It has. It has. People. Hope y'all are enjoying it. Hope you're enjoying the show. Subscribe, download, tell all your friends. If you're watching us on watchpoa.com, if you could just go to the podcast app and just go ahead and subscribe. It does help us out. And leave us a review, 5 stars. It takes you 2 seconds, but it super helps us. And like I said, just spread the word. Tell your friends. We're having a blast doing it. Hope y'all are having half as much fun listening to it because we love it. And we will see y'all next week.